Live, Andrew. Hello, mate.
Jimmy, how are you, mate?
Happy Saturday afternoon. You're still
I'm actually enjoying your office, to be honest, Jim.
I've told you plenty of times, mate, I'm happy to move out. I'm happy to move further down the back and you can take in there. Actually, I think we might do that. We'll do that over the next few weeks.
Yeah, no problems. We swap desk if you like, no problems.
I might have to make a few modifications there. But great to see you're obviously just finishing off, mate, just after on a Saturday. I've just walked in the door at home. It's bucketing down here. Is it raining at the office still?
It is bucketing down here as well. It literally, after I turned the key to the last open for inspection, locked the house, jumped in the car, and then it started bucketing down. So it was like great timing. 3:30 open, 3:35, rain started coming down.
You know, I'm just looking at some of the numbers coming through, and I haven't added them up yet, Andrew, but if I look at just some of the last opens, 4, 4, 5, 14, 19 groups, 6 groups through, 4 groups through, 22 groups through, 17 groups through. So once again, some strong numbers. I think we're probably going to be a little bit down on numbers with people coming through compared to last week and the week before.
Yeah.
But some good numbers coming through. And again, this week, Andrew, we missed out on a 100% success rate. We've ended up with 4 out of 5 auctions.
4 out of 5?
For the week. Yep. And maybe we should update your followers on what's happened this week. And we had a twilight auction scheduled on Thursday night at 3 Triangle Place. I think we might have touched on this last week, but that sold beforehand. A couple of weeks ago, in fact, before auction, with a strong offer coming in, another buyer being created, competition, sold for $865.5, just off Corrion Crescent there. Great result. Today, we kicked off with a property at 24 of 17 Lancefield Drive in Caroline Springs, a townhouse, and that sold for $470,000. We then went to 4 Goulburn Way, Taylor's Lakes, one of the old display village streets, if you like, the old top 40. A beautiful, beautiful double story. Andrew, you did a great auction there with a big crowd. Tell us about it. Yeah,
that was, I look forward to this auction because this home was actually on the market with 2 agents before we had the opportunity. It was actually interesting. We don't like mentioning this because obviously fees always come to equation and whatnot, but we understand that sometimes fee can be the difference between why they'll go with another agency. At the start, it seems like we're the dearest agents out there, but we always tell people we don't get paid till we sell the house, right? So anyway, they elected to go with a couple other agents before giving us the opportunity. And, we sat down and we made sure we covered a couple of tweaks in the property as well, internally. Presentation, photography was crucial. If I look at the marketing material the other agents offered, I couldn't believe they actually let the vendors present the home like that, but they did anyway. And we sat down, quoted the home correctly, marketed the home correctly. Today we had 5 bidders, so we had a few more register. We had 5 active bidders, and 93 bids later, 37 minutes later as well, selling for $995,500. So a great result.
Yeah, great result. I while you were doing all the contracts, I was outside. A couple of the neighbours that I know, having a bit of a chat to them, and Golden Way is one of those little court. Well, it says way, but it's a court. Yeah. And most of the neighbours were there, came along, and over the journey, we've got to meet a number of them, and they were all absolutely thrilled with the result because it underpins what they believe their home's worth now.
Spot on.
So great job, great outcome. And I'm glad you raised that point about fees. And whenever anybody's selling, if we can just side saddle for a minute or sidetrack from the rest of the auction results, it's a big thing for people when they're selling, and they don't do it often. They might only do it once every 10 or 15 years or whatever the case may be. The average used to be 7, but we know now it's more like 10 that people will sell. And these particular people have lived in this house for 17 or 18 years.
Correct, yeah.
So a long time between drinks. They don't know. They call 2 or 3 different agents in, and everybody beats their chest and says how good they are. And everybody has their own strategy. One thing with the advent of technology is that you can't hide.
Correct.
You can't run, you can't hide. And an interesting statistic that we shared with our sales team this week, independent statistics provided by realestate.com.au showed clearly that, again, in our area, we're number one by an absolute mile. The gap got closer for a while. It's now back to being where we believe it should be and what we always strive for. But the important statistic was the average sale price, Andrew. And it proved that our average sale price is higher than any of our competitors all combined, substantially, which more than negates any perception that we may be a bit more expensive. And I often use the analogy with people when they ask me the question, and I say to them, if there was something wrong with you, heaven forbid, would you want to go to the cheapest doctor or would you want to go to the best doctor? And the answer is always, I want to go to the best doctor. Well, it's exactly the same with everything we do in life. Everything. You've got to pay a little bit more for quality. If the quality wasn't there, you wouldn't pay for it. And we know that if we couldn't substantiate why we're better, why do we get a higher average sale price than any of our competitors all combined, well, then we wouldn't expect to be paid anymore. We'd happily work for the same as what they do because we provide the same results. But anyway.
Yeah, that's the situation, Jim. And the interesting thing is, when I spoke to these vendors and they didn't sell the first time, they were getting offers around the mid, 8s to high 8s thereabouts was, pretty much where the offers were coming in. They really wanted to be in the low 9s, which I thought was quite reasonable, to be honest. But I just think going back to what they told me, why their house wasn't selling and how many groups of buyers were going through, they were only averaging 2 to 3 buyers per week. But when I looked at the marketing and the photography that they actually had, I, as a buyer, probably wouldn't be appealing to that home either, right? So I said to them, if I'm not appealed to it, imagine the rest of the community, the buyers are looking at it. So, so we had to explain it to them, and they were a little bit older, so they didn't understand, marketing and social media and the rest of it. We sold it for $995 and $500. So, it goes to show you that, yes, we know the market's moved since then, but still, you still need to have good marketing material available as well. Look,
I think they understand it now, right? Yes. And so well done. And then from that auction, Andrew, Lass and some of the team were out at King Drive in Hillside in the Stonnybrook estate, and they sold number 8 King Drive. How much did it sell for, Andrew?
Property, sold for $570.
$570. So that was it's one of nine 3-level reverse living. And consequently, we've got another one there, number 10, coming up. Matreski has got that one. So, still another opportunity. Beautiful, actually, overlooking the parkland.
Nice.
In Stonnybrook. They're really nice. And it's the only development like that in there. And then from there, Andrew, Lass and the team went to
Lancefield?
No,
Tomel, yep.
Yeah, Tomel Drive. And that one passed in. So they passed that one in at 500,000. There was a later offer negotiated to 510. The reserve is 545. So there's a bit of a gap there. Now, continuing negotiations may produce a result over the weekend. Otherwise, if you're one of the ones that has been through and had a look at that, feel free to reach out to Lass or any of the team and they'll be able to guide you through what's happening with negotiations there. And that was it for today, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, Jim. They've got actually a couple of auctions that sold for next weekend, 1st of May. Jesus Christ, 1st of May next Saturday, which is good. We've got a lovely property. I'm really looking forward to this auction, actually. Robinson's Road, number 33.
Beautiful property.
Yeah, 11 a.m. The vendors of that property, mate, you walk in that house, it is absolutely pristine. Not one thing to do. A gorgeous double-story home on 450 square meters of land. So anyone that's looking for a low maintenance kind of lifestyle, great location next to Over Newton, just down the road from obviously where we're located at Water Gardens. So really look forward to that. That's actually well on the property. So
can I just
register for that auction?
Can I just jump in there for a sec? I just want to highlight the importance of that property at 33 Robertson's Road. It's in the McCubbin estate. The McCubbin estate was a select estate of some, I think from memory, 28 lots. Someone owned this corner lot, subdivided it into 3. and built these 3 totally unattached, standalone, luxury, double-story homes. It sits on 450 odd square metres of land, from memory. Now, it's a rare commodity. They don't exist.
Correct.
To buy a property that's only a few years old, state-of-the-art, stylish, classy, beautiful, beautiful floor plan, walking distance to water gardens, walking distance to all the facilities that are necessary across the road from over Newton. It's a standout. You should have a look at it. You've still got a week to have a look at that property. Next.
Yeah, well, today was our last Saturday open, and we still had 17 groups go through. So that's shows you strong interest in that property, which is good.
Yeah.
And then we've got Bobber Wines. We did have Hanslow, which we sold last night prior to obviously the auction, and the 2-bedroom unit in Stratheden. So
That sold as well.
Which sold as well during the week as well, to a lovely elderly couple from St Albans, which is good. So yeah, they're very, very happy to downsize from their property. Obviously, it would have been a bit emotional from them selling their home, but they bought a beautiful 2-bedroom unit in Sydenham, which is good.
Fantastic. Andrew, I'm just getting some results coming through from right across Melbourne. So maybe I can give people a snapshot of what's happening. Very strong out at the Mornington Peninsula today. Rosebud Office, 112 8th Avenue, sold for $750. Werribee, 84 Tarneet Street, sold at $660. Deer Park, Ross and the boys there sold one in Chester Avenue for $583.5. Northcote, 1710 for 8 Boothby Street. Rowville, listen to this. In Rowville, they had an auction at 31 Torpo Crescent. The opening bid, it sold on one bid. The opening bid was way over the odds. Someone offers 1.6 million, opening bid, bang, on the market, any other money, sold. One bid auction, that sold. Another one in Rosebud for 800. Brunswick West, 941. Faulkner, 835. Coburg, 1.3 million. Reservoir, 1.37 million for 15 Wimmera. Frankston, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sales. Dingley Village, 1570. Mentone, 1410. Another one in Northcote, another one in Preston, one in Upper Beaconsfield, and there's still results coming through.
Great job, team. What a weekend.
Yeah, what a weekend. Still early in the day. So things do appear strong. And I, Andrew, I'd just like to point out, because something that happened to you today as well. You and your wife trying to buy a property. So, we take the hat off as an agent, you put the hat on as a buyer. Yeah. And, you and I were talking before how we as agents are supposed to know the market and we're supposed to know what's going to happen. So you had a look at this property, you did your due diligence, you did all your homework, and the property sold for, I think, $250,000, $270,000 more than what you thought it should sit at, correct?
Correct.
So I want anyone watching to understand that we feel what's going on. We feel your pain. We're not just talking about these results saying, oh, look at this and look at that. If we're trying to buy something, we're in the same boat, right? Yeah. The market is the market. And it's not going to last like this forever. But we all know that when we're buying property, we're buying for the long term. But if you want to buy today, you're going to compete. Money's cheap. It's easily obtainable. And we're in a climate where we're seeing good activity and people can't travel. We're not going away anywhere soon. Our lives have changed because of COVID. And, we're still going to be impacted by COVID. Look at what's happened in the last 24 hours.
A couple of outbreaks by the looks of it. So.
Pardon me. Well, a flight from Perth on Wednesday. My wife was telling me before that now the fella's wife obviously has been diagnosed with having COVID as well. 130 odd people on that plane all panicking and have had to isolate. We're going to be impacted. We're going to see potentially little breakouts and shutdowns, and Perth's gone into lockdown for 3 days. We might see these things. This is our new normal. But But thank God, Andrew, that we live in Australia. When you look at what's happening elsewhere in the world, particularly some of the numbers coming out of India, 300,000 cases.
Brazil,
in one day. Europe, the US. So the message, I think we've all just got to be a bit cautious still. Yeah.
And I think hence the prices, right? Because as you said before, Jim, most people are thinking, long term. They obviously, believe that real estate at the moment is just safe to buy, right? And as you said, money is cheap. We understand that, but as you said, like, we're, myself and my wife looking for a property, we get it. It's an emotional thing, and we understand, but you don't know what is going to happen until the day, right? And we really believe that. We do what we've got to do to get the house sold, but we don't know what the result's going to be until the day of the auction. So, and you're right. I thought this house, I worked my numbers out. I had a figure in mind, which was more than what I thought it was going to sell for anyway, to be honest. And the opening bid was 50 grand more than what I thought I was going to pay for it. So it's just one of those things.
Look, it's frustrating. It is what it is, and we understand that. The bottom line is we share people's frustrations when they miss out. We understand exactly what it feels like, but people do their numbers based on different reasons. If they're moving because they're going to be working from home and they need a bigger home, or if they're moving because their family's grown, or if they're moving because their family's shrunk, there's different reasons. That'll be your phone. There's different reasons that people move. I think the important message is that you do your homework, you set your limit, you go and have a go, because not every single one runs away to the levels that we're talking. And sometimes you might get lucky, sometimes you surprise yourself. You've got to be in it. I had a client during the week that we were talking to that missed out on a property because they didn't go because they thought it was going to go for more. I mean,
that's the other thing as well. Yeah, we got that today. Even some clients looking at our quote guides, and they're thinking, okay, well, if you quote an X to X, do you think they're going to sell for 100 grand? Well, I said, guys, no, we're quoting it based on our vendors' instructions, based on what they would like to achieve for their property. Now, if it does go over as well, then obviously great for the vendors, of course. But at the end of the day, it might not. So if you don't go to the auction, or if we don't go to the property, and it does sell for less than what you thought it was going to sell for, well, then you've only got yourself to blame. It's as simple as that. And now I know it's frustrating that it might go over, but at the end of the day, you don't know. So just make sure you attend.
Well, it's like we say, Andrew, it doesn't happen on every single one. And importantly, what's happening is some vendors that are opportunistic, that are thinking, now's a great time to sell. I listen to what is, the media is saying. I'm going to try to sell my home, but I'm only going to sell it if I get X.
Yep.
Now, they might not get X.
Yep.
Right? It might be 10% less, or 5% less, or 3% less. So those sorts of vendors are testing the market. They're not serious about selling. So they're things that you need to take into account as well, right? So I think the message is you've got to look at each property individually, do your homework, go and give it a go. If it suits you and your family, you have a crack. If it doesn't suit you and your family, you move on to the next one.
Spot on, 100%. Well, that's about it, Jim. That's a bit of a wrap for the weekend. And
what's on for the weekend, mate?
Gonna have a quiet night tonight, Jim, and rethink what we're going to do. But just gonna catch up with some friends for the dinner, and that's it. It doesn't look like it's gonna be a nice night. I think it's gonna keep raining tonight. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, last night, Andrew, proud to say Victory had a win, 5-4.
What a game.
Well, they were 5-1 up, and, so it's great that they had a win. Carlton starts in 10 minutes' time. But I think if we should finish on this message that, this weekend, tomorrow, is a really, really important day. Anzac Day, remembrance of those that sacrificed so that we can live today the way that we live. I think everybody's family knows someone, whether we're talking grandparents, great-grandparents, that were involved in the war back in the day, and they sacrificed. I've got to share this with you. I was at a dinner a couple of weeks ago, and former Premier of Victoria, the Honourable Ted Baillieu, and Ted was on the ANZAC committee. Ted got up and made a speech, and he did a lot of homework. I know I'm dragging on, but this is really important. He brought up a map of streets around all of Melbourne. So he'd bring up, for example, pick a street in, Taylor's Lakes and what have you didn't exist back in the day, but, pick Mount Alexander Road, Essendon, right? So it had every house on there, and he'd pick a name, and he'd say Smith or Jones or, Petrucci, whatever. And it would show from every house how many young men 17, 18, 19, 20 years of age left to go to war.
Wow.
And you would see these red dots, and some of them had 2 red dots because both their sons left to go and fight in the war. And then it had a number, not a number, a different colour for all the houses where young men left to go to war to fight for their country that never returned, right? And you looked at it and you thought, my goodness, these were kids. They were young kids, you know, just starting off their life. And the patriotism, they had no choice. They had to. They went out and they fought for our country. And we look at the Anzacs now, and you know, tomorrow morning they'll go to the shrine and they'll sit there in peace and quiet, and they'll remember. And you know, the less we forget will come up. And I think too often, Andrew, you know, we've all got kids, and it's something that we need to drill into our kids, as a lot of us, you know, parents have passed on, grandparents have passed on, and the obligation now rests with us to let our kids know what happened back in the day and why they're able to live the way they live, so that they can understand the spirit of the Anzacs. So anyway, just to finish off, Anzac Day tomorrow, everybody have a pot, have a Carlton draft or a VB or whatever it is. Remember the Anzacs. And if you're good at playing 2-up, give that a crack as well. Stay well, everyone. We'll see you soon, yeah?
Well said, Jimmy. Have a good night, and we'll speak to you on Monday.
All right, mate. Take care.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thanks again.
Yeah, bye.